when I was in college, our coach used to always say, like, after every loss, she used to always swing to us and say, wins and losses don't define me. Wins and losses don't define me. But I never really thought about what she meant. I just be like, okay, here she go again. Wins and losses don't define her. But now that I'm in business, well, I'll back it up a little bit. Wins and losses define me. That was the problem. They define me. So now in business, when I haven't got a win in a while, it's hard to keep your confidence up because I'm like, dang, in basketball, you're only as good as your last game. You're only as good as your last practice. You're only good as your last one-on-one. You know what I mean? So in business, if we use that same logic, if I'm only as good as my last deal, I done had some bad ones. You know what I mean? So it's like, am I a bad entrepreneur? So it's just like when all that's in your head, it's hard to keep the confidence and keep and stay relentless. At the end of the day, as a point guard, we always are gonna bounce back, but those are still struggles that I have to overcome. Like I really still feel like wins and losses define you because that's you have to measure how you're doing some way. You know what I mean? And for me, that's how you measure. Are you winning or are you losing? And right now, quite frankly, I've been losing. But because I'm still confident and I'm still reading, I just know it's only a matter of time before that win comes. And that win, because I've been putting in so much work, it's gonna make up for all those losses.
AC, God told me to start this podcast, and then he told me to call you. The time is now. You ready?
I got you, T. Let's do it.
Welcome, family, to another episode of the Mental Locker Room Podcast. I'm your boy, Dr. C. And for the uninitiated, the Mental Locker Room Podcast is a space for former athletes turned entrepreneurs, as well as industry leaders that are looking to inspire athletes to find identity, purpose, legacy, and mindset beyond the game. And today, oh my God, today, do I have somebody for y'all. Today we are sitting down with the incomparable Rolanda Hayes. She is a dynamic entrepreneur, a corporate professional, as well as a former college athlete who has a passion for building wealth and empowering others. At 29, she holds a bachelor's degree in business management and a master's degree from Prairie View A&M University. Shout out Prairie View. Rolanda began her career at a Fortune 500 company and gained valuable corporate experience while also exploring interest in real estate and trading. A former collegiate basketball player at the Jacksonville University, she brings the same discipline and drive from her time on the court into her business ventures. Her ultimate goal, break free from the 9-to-5 and to build an empire rooted in purpose, freedom, and generational wealth. So do me a favor. Let's welcome my friend and yours, Miss Rolanda Hayes.
What's up, Ro? What's up, bro? You see how he don't even want to say nothing to me, but it don't even worry about it.
That was a great intro, by the way.
Thank you. And
I got
you know right, you right, T. You right. My bad. How dare I start the Mental Locker Room Podcast and not introduce my incomparable co-host, Miss Tesh Johnson. Tesh, how you doing? How's your day going?
Beautiful people, how y'all doing?
Hey, well, how you doing today, Miss Hayes? Thank you for sitting with us. I just wanted to give you some time in the space. How you doing? How you feeling? How's your day going?
I feel great. On this happy Sunday. I woke up very blessed, said my affirmations, so I'm ready to go. How are y'all doing?
Doing good. We get to sit with you. But as I was telling Tesh in the last episode, you the person with the plan, man, because the money conversations,
Yeah,
we need to have them more.
I'm trying to.
So we thank you for sitting with us today for this third episode of the pod, where we're going to be talking about our identity as athletes and into the spaces that we occupy currently, right? So I want to start back, right, if you don't mind going back a little bit. I mentioned in the intro, you went to Jacksonville University. Shout out the Dolphins, right? They the Dolphins. I remember applying way back when I was college searching. So you transferred there, and you eventually earned a starting role, right? Because we got to earn things at that level.
I did.
Did you feel your purpose shifting then? or did the shift in your identity occur after you left the game?
Definitely after I left the game. And that's when actual life started hitting me. So then I had to adjust. You know what I mean? So purpose definitely didn't hit me until after I graduated, and I had no choice but to figure out what I was gonna do other than basketball. Yep. And by the way, I transferred from FAU, so shout out to FAU too.
Shout out to Owls.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I want to stay there for a minute. You're right. You say that your purpose shifted after the game. What were some of the adversities or things that you had to go through to shift that mindset? Or did you just go of your own volition? You didn't need anything to happen to you to shift that mindset?
Okay, so let's start from the very beginning. So when I first committed to FAU, I came there for the summer, and that was when I tore my ACL. So I tore my ACL immediately. It wasn't even the first official practice. It literally was a summer practice where I tore my ACL. So I had to sit out for a year, and then things weren't going as planned. So then that's when I ended up transferring. And then when I transferred, I had to sit out another year. So I sat out 2 years in a row as a freshman. So people in the 2014 class, they have 2 years of experience over me, right? So it just didn't start out right. But then I got that, like you said, I ended up starting my first game at JU. We played North Carolina. And that was when I realized, like, sitting out 2 years definitely hurt me. Like, the game was just faster than I was used to. Like, yes, I had practice, but there's no experience like game experience. So basically, I would say all this adversity kept hitting me. And ultimately, my 5 years of college basketball didn't go as planned. So then I had the opportunity to go overseas. And then for some reason, I just, at the end of it, I was like, you know what? I don't want to go through all that. I'll just work my way up in a company, and I'll be this manager of that, whatever. But then it's like 6 months into me getting that Fortune 500 job, I knew that, like, I was not going to do this for the rest of my life. I don't know how my parents did it. I don't know how our parents did it. But I was like, I'm not working up until I'm 50, 60 years old and then retiring behind a desk. I'm just not doing it. So at that point, 6 months in, that was when I was like, I need to figure something out, and it's not going to be this. So that was when I was like, let me figure out what I'm going to do, and I'm just going to put everything into doing that.
I definitely feel that. People laughing. I ain't been nowhere longer than 2 years, but get me out of here. Yeah, so I think, in situations like that, you can definitely fit, like, especially for people like us as entrepreneurs, as industry leaders and things like that, especially as athletes, where a lot of times people try to box us in, and it just doesn't work because we were born to stand out. And like, so you remove yourself. Some people never get there, like you said, like, older generations, the boomers and things like that, they'll work forever, and that's all they know, so that's what they teach you, and so that's the route that you try to take.
Exactly. I was just getting ready to say, it's not like I chose it. I didn't choose that route. I was doing what I was told to do. Because at the time when I graduated, I had to go back to my parents' house, so I still had to do what I was told to do under their roof. But then once I experienced it for myself, I was like, I know what I'm not doing.
Yeah.
I know what I'm not doing. And I was like, it did, my parents, they did all they could for me. Like, they were great parents, but the route that they took to get there, I just got to figure something else out.
Yeah. I was at a conference not too long ago, and Oprah, she was like, when she was 4, her either her or 2 was like, she was doing the laundry and hanging it up and all of that, and she looked her dead in her face and said, "You're gonna be doing this on your own one day." And Oprah was looking at her, just shaking her head like, "No, I'm not."
Right.
Yeah, so no, I feel that. So, like your last season collegiately, how was that? Like, you knew, like, in the last few games, even the last few months before graduation, you knew all of this was kind of coming to an end. I know you said you went out, you ended up going overseas, but just kind of seeing that end approaching, what was your mindset then? Were you, some people, they get to scrambling and they don't really know and they're trying to figure out who they are. Like, how was that transition for you?
So I'm a person that prepares and plans, right? So I started thinking about this sophomore year. It didn't take me too long. So sophomore year, when I don't know if you remember, Forex was a big thing during like 2014, 2015, 2016. So I had tried to
Yeah.
get into that. But then my coach found out, and then my parents ended up finding out, and they were like, "Oh, you just need to stop all that and focus on your books and your schoolwork." But in my mind, I'm thinking like, I'm not about to graduate and be like y'all. So no, I don't. Like I'm focusing on the right thing. Like I want to be an entrepreneur. So then long story short, that was a wrap. That was a wrap. So then I had to just do basically what they said. I started working on my resume. So literally as soon as I graduated, I would say like 3 to 4 months after I had got that job. And it literally took nothing. They found me on LinkedIn. And I kind of didn't want to take it because I never wanted to get into accounting and finance, but it just seemed like everything was working out the way it was supposed to. So I was like, maybe I am supposed to go this route. But like I said, 6 months in, I had a new plan, and I've been sticking with that plan ever since. I actually ended up quitting that job.
Hey, you made it 6 months. That's longer than some
Yeah,
people.
And you made it to
yeah.
6 months and had a plan, right? Because some people,
Listen,
like, that's the
yes,
big
I was
thing.
determined. When I felt how it felt to be behind the desk and have to like go to work at a certain time because somebody's telling me to do so, to have to ask for permission to take vacation, to ask for permission to take a mental health day. I was like, how do y'all do this? Like, I'm not doing this. I'm literally not doing this. Like, I'm just not gonna do it. So I was like, I have to come up with plan B, and then plan B is that's just it. Like, there's no other plan.
Hey, boy, you said a mouthful. That's one of the biggest scams to me. Well, PTO. Why am I asking you permission to take a date that I done earned, right? It's paid
Come
time
on
off.
now, come
Like,
come on
what we
now.
doing? So, you say, I'm hearing that you a planner, right? That
Yeah.
you don't go out there without at least some kind of an idea of if they go, the athlete, if they go this way, I'm gonna push them to the left, right? I'm gonna push them to my right. I'm gonna push them to my help.
Boy, if they all
Knowing
in
that,
my face, I'm gonna go around them.
yeah, I'm hitting with the Kyrie spin cycle, right?
Something.
Life is just like that, right? When we up against these things, we got to use some of those skills that we learned on the court. And that's, me and Tesh talked a lot last episode about, our identity being tied to that. Like, even now, we talking about business. I throw sports analogies though, and y'all like,
Yeah.
that part of us is still part of us. So was there ever a moment where you felt that even with the plans, without basketball, you may not have known what to do? So did you ever feel lost without the game, right? Like when it was over, you was like, gosh, what else am I supposed to be doing?
For sure. I wouldn't necessarily say, let me see how to put this. So I always had a plan, like how I said, but at the same time, I didn't know what I liked. I never had a hobby. I never did anything other than basketball. So it was like when basketball stopped, I was like, okay, I know I said I want to be an entrepreneur, but okay, doing what? You know what I mean? So then I had to try a bunch of different things until I found out, okay, let me stick with this. But at the same time, I tried a lot of things. That doesn't mean that I picked the one that I liked. I just picked the one that's going to help me get to where I dream of going. So I don't like to do it. Like I don't dream of labor. People are like, oh, what's your dream job? I don't dream of labor. I don't have one. But I know I have a dream life, and I know what's it's going to take for me to get there. So I'll do this until it can get me there. I'll do this until it can get me there. You know what I mean? But for sure, when I stopped playing basketball, I think the hardest part was figuring out what I wanted to do, what I like to do, how else can I impact the world, and they actually listen to me. You know what I mean? Like, it was kind of easy to tell people, you have to be consistent. You have to be disciplined. If you want to get a scholarship, I did it. Finally, I'm at the age where I can say, I did this before. You want to be somewhere where I've been. I can say that now to the kids. So it's like when I do it that way, it was fine. But when basketball stopped, I had to figure out myself. I had to figure out what Rolanda really liked to do, wanted to do, stuff like that. So now I'm still in that process of figuring it out.
Yeah. And that's big, what I'm saying? Most people, like when we're kids, they're asking us like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And people like the first thing you're saying is like what you think this dream job is that you want to have. You're automatically thinking, I want to work. Well, like you said, like that's literally nobody's dream. And so,
job, yeah.
yeah. Or you get to a place where you're in a certain career path or something like that, where it doesn't necessarily feel like work. Like you have those days, but you get up and you can you feel alive just doing what you do. Not like, yes, I get paid to do this, but it doesn't feel like a burden or a task. Yes, we
Exactly.
have those hard days, but I'm willing to go through those hard days
Mm.
because of something that I love. And it's like you said, it's taking me to somewhere that I want to be. So I think that's
Yes.
important for,
It's bigger than how you feel doing it. You know,
Mm.
like it's bigger than that.
yeah,
And then like I'm big on the Bible too, and the Bible says that a good man provides an inheritance for his kids. You know
praise
what I'm
God.
saying? So for me, it's like I'm definitely trying to do that. Like I need to be doing something that's gonna leave an inheritance for my kids.
Absolutely.
And it may not be
Absolutely.
something I like, but I'm here to get the job done at the same time. And I'm used to that from basketball. I'm here to get the job done.
Yeah, yeah. And
Hmm.
so that's a dream within itself. You know, I don't think
Exactly.
that's talked about enough where my dream is to be free. My dream
Hmm.
is for my kids that I don't even have to be free. My dream is for my
Exactly.
grandkids to be free. My dream,
Exactly.
like
Like
that should
I
be
want my
enough.
kids, yes, I want my kids to have the option to not have to work. Like even if they don't want to work in the family business, they don't have to because we have they're trust babies. I want my kids to be trust babies and their kids to be trust babies. So if you don't want to wake up today, cool. That's why I did what I didn't want to do. Like if you
Mm.
don't want to do anything today, that's perfectly fine.
Yeah. And that's important. So like once you retired from the game, how did you find that strength? Like I think a lot of our strengths we get from the game in terms of time management and resilience, the confidence, all of that stuff. It comes from
Hmm.
playing the game. Like where, like once you retired, like how did you determine what your strengths were and what the gaps were that you needed to fill in terms of just who you are when you were trying to transition on who you wanted to become?
So I know a lot of people struggle with leaving the game. I didn't struggle. When it was time for me to go, I dropped it. For real, when it was time for me to go, I dropped it because I knew I had to shift my focus on to what really mattered now. And I just kind
Mhm.
of took it as my basketball career didn't go the way that I wanted to, but at the end of the day, it still gave me 2 degrees and I don't have any student loans. You know what I mean? So I just took that for what it was. And then really me not wanting to work a 9 to 5, like my passion, like I was passionate about not wanting to do that. So that is what led me into all the down the rabbit hole of what I need to do to get out of it. You know what I mean? So it
Yeah.
was like it wasn't necessarily basketball. It was my hunger for wanting to be an entrepreneur that made me develop into reading this and getting into that and learning
Mm.
things from these people and going to conferences and doing that kind of thing. It was really just my passion for wanting to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah. So that was your driving force. Like you already
That was
knew. Did 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 you see any of your teammates go through a struggle like that? You know, that like the basketball or sport or anything, that was their identity. And so once it all was over, it was like, okay, they're trying to figure it out.
I wouldn't necessarily say my teammates, but I had other athletes around me that I knew from other sports and playing basketball from like AAU, where we all had that same common feeling of, I feel depressed now because I don't know how to be relevant in the world anymore without basketball. It's like, what sport did you guys play?
Football.
Okay, and I know Teach played basketball, but it's like when you're on the field and then you're doing your thing, and when you get off the field, people are seriously like, "I want your autograph. When's the next game? I'm coming to the next game." And then when all that stops and you're just a regular person in this world, you're kind of just like, "Whoa!" Like I kind of miss that. Like, what do I do to become relevant again? You know what I mean? So it's
Mhm.
like we definitely all went through that stage of depression, and luckily we had each other, so we definitely made it out. And we're all some of us work 9 to 5s, and some of them are doing so good where they don't even have the 9 to 5. They just 100% entrepreneurs. You know what I mean? So it's definitely good to have like those people to lean on, because I was struggling. I was going through. I was crying every day. Like it was that bad for me. It was tough.
Mm. So that is a good segue to my next question, right? To tie in with the episode, right? We talk about that down period, right? After we done
Hmm.
left the game, we like, hey, what's when and how did you get that confidence back? Because you don't seem to be in that place now. So either you wear it good or you crawl up out of that.
So just like in sports, I feel like your confidence comes from practice and the workouts that you do outside of games. Because when you get in the game, oh, I've been working on this move. I'm about to get this. So I feel like I just apply the same thing when it comes to business. I didn't read so much and did so much research that it's like, if you want to talk about this and if it's in my lane, we can talk about it. So it's like that's where the confidence comes from because I know I put that work in. It's not the same lifting weights and practicing ball handling and getting shots up, but I put that work in from researching and reading. So it's like I know what I'm talking about when it comes to certain things. You know what I mean? It's no difference. Like instead of working on your actual muscles, I'm working on my brain muscles. So I just shifted it over like that.
For sure. And that's important. And like you said, like the
Mm-hmm.
preparation, no matter what it is,
Mm-hmm.
that is going to take away the nerves. You're going to be able to, like you said, talk about the things that you know about. You're going to get on the court and be able to execute this move because you practiced it over and over and over again. And
Exactly.
so it's like me now, if I'm doing a keynote talk or whatever, like I'm not going to be stumbling. I'm not going to be nervous. I'm not going to be shaking
Mm-hmm.
to the point where I can't deliver because I practiced it over
You know,
and
you put
over
that
and
work
over
in.
again.
Yeah.
And that's where confidence comes from. Confidence,
Mm-hmm.
certain that's where I believe it comes from preparation. So
Yeah.
that's what's up, man. So how would you say, like, what parts of that mindset? Because like confidence is I think, like you said, it's the same thing that you carry on the court. You can carry those same things into life, whether you're executing, a certain business initiative or whatever it is, or you're getting ready to negotiate a contract with somebody,
Mm-hmm.
all of those things. So, like, what other parts of that athlete mindset do you carry into your business as an entrepreneur?
Definitely perseverance because confidence doesn't equal success. Okay, because I could be as confident as ever, but I had a bad real estate deal. But I read everything I could read. I talked to the people I need to talk to, and it still didn't work out. You know what I mean? So that's where that relentlessness, perseverance, determination, discipline, consistency. That's where all that. That's literally the same thing. Like literally all those same adjective that we use transfers over into the business world. It's literally no different. You're just not dribbling a ball. At this point, you're using your mind. So like everything that I learned from basketball, I was able to translate it over into the business world. And then so much so to where when I run into other athletes, they're like, "Did you play a sport?" I could tell, dude, I could tell. It's the way you're a team player. You're this, you're that. It's things that I didn't even know. You know what I mean? Like I'm giving off so much. I don't know however they feel, but at the end of the day, for them to say, "I knew you played a sport because you're such a team player," it's just stuff happening subconsciously. You know what I mean? So everything that you've learned from your sport can definitely and should translate over to the business world, and that's how you're able to navigate and get through, especially as a point guard. I can't tell you for a center or any small forward, but for a point guard, we could transfer our skills over into the real world.
Right. Yeah, and it definitely was a point guard. And I think those are the thing. Well, I know those are some of the reasons why, I
Mm-hmm.
could not, toot my horn or whatever. But that's why I know that I'm a good leader because of the things and the ways that I had to
Mm-hmm.
lead on the court as a point guard. So the same vision I had today is the same vision I had to have on the court. And
Yes.
no, I get that. And as I've been, in leadership positions, in the corporate space and pretty in everywhere. And it's just like you you can tell those people that didn't
Mm-hmm.
play a
You
team
play.
sport.
Yes, you can.
Like,
No, you
and
can
it's
tell
just
people who didn't
like,
play a sport at all.
oh, it's just like, oh man. And so that's why so many companies, they are looking for former athletes because they
Mm-hmm.
know that we're going to have drive. They know that, we've been through wins and losses, the ups and the downs that go along in a lot of these career fields and in business and things like that. And so that's why, like, many Fortune 500 companies, many like sales companies, always looking for athletes because of those same
Mm-hmm.
characteristics. No, yeah,
Yep.
I
I
love
think
that.
another important part, one thing that I'm still trying to work on is translate. I know when I was in college, our coach used to always say, like after every loss, she used to always turn to us and say, wins and losses don't define me. Wins and losses don't define me. But I never really thought about what she meant. I used to just be like, okay, here she go again. Wins and losses don't define her. But now that I'm in business, well, I'll back it up a little bit. Wins and losses define me. That was the problem. They define me. So now in business, when I haven't got a win in a while, it's hard to keep your confidence up because I'm like, dang, in basketball, you're only as good as your last game. You're only as good as your last practice. You're only good as your last one-on-one. You know what I mean? So in business, if we use that same logic, if I'm only as good as my last deal, I done had some bad ones. You know what I mean? So it's like, am I a bad entrepreneur? So it's just like when all that's in your head, it's hard to keep the confidence and keep and stay relentless. At the end of the day, as a point guard, you know, we always are going to bounce back. But those are still struggles that I have to overcome. Like, I really still feel like wins and losses define you, because you have to measure how you're doing some way. You know what I mean? And for me, that's how you measure. Are you winning or are you losing? And right now, quite frankly, I've been losing. But because I'm still confident and I'm still reading, I just know it's only a matter of time before that win comes. And that win, because I've been putting in so much work, it's going to make up for all those losses. But it takes time to get to this point before I used to just cry about it. But now I can explain what's going on.
Sure, man, and that's what they always say. Like, trust the numbers,
Mhm.
and 9 times out of 10, like, you not gonna get 10 yeses, you not getting 9
You're
yeses.
not. You're
You
not.
like a good 3 is like that's major, and I don't even want 10 yeses. Like, I'm gonna start saying no.
Right, right,
You
right,
know what I'm
right,
saying?
right, right.
You know, all money ain't good money, but yeah, you
You
go
got to
through
think
that.
about this from like a baseball standpoint. You know, like they say, when you're up batting, if you hit 2 balls out of 10, you're about to go to the major league. That's all you need, and that's really how it is when it comes to business.
I was just, I was enthralled with the basketball talk. 'Cause I'm like, what's the equivalent in football? I played linebacker and safety. Do I had to know the game like that? And I think that the overlap is one of the things that you are very vocal about on your social media handles. Is as much as a mindset is important, as much as your skill set is important, you also need a strong team, right? That's important as well. So how important is it for you to have people around you that also have a growth mindset? And have you ever had to remove people who were like stuck in survival mode, right? The adage of everybody can't go, right? So how do you build that team of strong mind of growth mindset folks? And when you decide to cut folks off?
I think that when your presence is so heavy, you don't even have to cut people off. The relationship just doesn't work. The relationship crumbles on its own. And if you do have that person around that you know shouldn't be around, I feel like you have these thoughts, not thoughts, but I feel like it's God on the inside of you telling you, like, you know, this ain't gonna work. Here you go again with the same person, knowing it's not gonna work. Or you're going to see them again, knowing it's not gonna work, and then eventually it's like the relationship just like shrivels up and dies, and you're not even trying to fight for it because you're like, I've been knowing this wasn't gonna work. You know what I mean? So it's like when you really carry yourself like you're that, the people that are around you who also don't feel like that just fall off.
So, as an entrepreneur, right? And someone with a established business, how solid was your team when you first started and compared to how it is now?
If I'm being honest with you, I never was the kind of person to have a team around me. It was always just me. It was always just me. And it was mainly because I was trying to get myself together so bad to where I didn't have time to nurture those relationships. So it was like, if you weren't on the time that I was on when I first started, probably still not friends, because I know our relationship hasn't covered, because I know I didn't go back and try to nurture it. You know what I mean? However, I do have a couple of friends, I would say about 2 or 3 of them, and we're all on the same time. But we don't talk every day. But when we do talk, we know what time it is because we're all in our stuff. You know what I mean? And we all understand that. So it's like I'm not really out here like, oh, I still got to cut this person off, or my team is this, my team is that. I wouldn't even call it a team. Like, they're more like family. You know what I mean? So it's like when I talk to them, it's always like, okay, yeah, I'm on the right track. I'm back motivated again. Any kind of relapse I was having in my head on if I was confident if I should still do this, one phone call with them and we're good. But other than that, I don't really have people in my life that's not on this same kind of time. So I don't really have that problem. Like, you got rid of that a long time ago. Mhm.
Yeah, because I think it just gets to a certain point where it's just like you could be sitting in the same room, and it's like they're trying to have old conversations, and you just not on that, and it's just like, what are we even talking about? Yeah.
And it was to the point where they would feel it too.
Yeah, so it just, stuff like that, it just easily falls off where you may not have just kind of like put it out there like, yeah, we can't be friends anymore or whatever, it's just like
Mhm.
that distance starts to grow on its
Mhm.
own because the mindset has, your mindset has completely shifted.
We're on two totally different levels.
Yeah, yeah. And you can tell when people they just don't want to grow or they don't see the way out no matter how many times you try to have the conversation of how to level up and
Mhm.
wanting more and there is more and even the confidence factor like you can pour into somebody so much but if they don't believe in themselves and they ain't trying to really go anywhere and they are stuck in a certain mentality it's just like all right I ain't on that so I don't care who it is and I know for me like on my team like if you are not secure within yourself that is probably not going to work
Probably not gonna work.
and if I hire you for something, and you're going through the probationary period, and I got to do your job for you, and you don't feel comfortable, and you're not executing, or I gotta hold your hand through everything. I literally don't want to micromanage. This probably not the place for
Not
me. I
gonna
love
work.
you,
Mhm.
and I
Yep.
learned that a long time ago, and it sounds like you learned that too, where you can't save
Mhm.
everybody, and you gotta love people from a distance a lot of times.
Yes. Yep. Yep. I have some friends to this day that are like, I'll work for you one day. I'll work for you one day. And in my mind, I'm like, you can never work for me because we will really never be friends. And I genuinely love you. So let's just be friends because I'm different when it comes to business and my business at that. Like, I don't play, I play a lot, but when it comes to my business, we're not playing. And I feel like you may do something like be late for something that I really need and I don't play about being late and that's gonna be the end of the friendship, end of the relationship. You know what I mean? So it's just like I'd rather have my friends be my friends and my employees be my employees. You know what I mean?
And I have those people. I think, like when you said like you got people that are in your circle, like y'all are in different lanes, but same like everybody's trying to
Same
grow.
goal.
Yeah, everybody's trying to grow, and I would say like it's a even like my middle school AAU team. It's a group of us that are like we out here getting it, and so we the only like when it's time to okay, let's take a trip here. Like it's gonna be us, and then the other half of the team is just like they out doing all kinds of other stuff and it's just like yeah we can't all still hang out I love you you know what I'm saying
Mhm.
but y'all
And
gonna
don't
just
get me
have to look at
wrong.
these pictures
Yeah.
because I can't
You right, you right.
you know
And don't get me wrong though, I feel like it's a time because I still hit them up, you know what I mean? Like if I feel like going out, I didn't work hard, it's a time. But majority of my time is not spent doing that. But when it is, I'll hit them up for sure. I've never been holier than now. But I'm not brand new either. So it's like when it's time, it's time. But when it's not time and they can't do both, that's where the problem comes in. I think balance is very important.
yeah and I think that's the thing like I've been there as well like when you are just trying to fit in
Mm.
with those people and that lifestyle and things like that and it don't work out like you feel
Mm-mm.
like an alien when you know
Yeah.
like I done been there clubbing and smoking
Mm-hmm.
and drinking and all of that knowing that
Yeah.
it don't even feel right
Mhm.
when you just
But
remove
it
yourself.
depends. It's like when you get in that mode and then you try to do it, you're like, man, what am I doing? You literally in the club, like, what am I even doing here? Like,
And then eventually you fall out of that
hmm
and then
yeah,
when they see you it's like they trying to take you back to that place and it's just like yeah
hmm
nah.
yeah. But it's like I'm so glad I passed all that because now when they see me, they like, I know you got that business. I know you. I already know. I ain't even asked you to come. Right? I'm like, oh, I'm glad you know.
God, I ain't got to tell you no. I ain't got to
Yeah,
pretend to be
right,
asleep
right,
every day,
right,
all
right.
day. Oh man. So man, let's get into your business and what you're doing now. Credit to capital. Man, you got
Yes.
this financial guy and everything, man. How did this come to be? I know you were talking about um you've done a lot in the real estate space. How did we get to credit to capital? Tell me about that journey.
So we got to credit to capital because I decided to do a fix and flip. So it's basically where you buy a home that was damaged or needs work. The baddest one on the block, the ugliest one on the block. So you fix it up. and then you sell it. You know what I mean? So I did all the numbers. I researched the construction. You know, I did everything I was supposed to do. I got a gap funder. I got a lender. I used my credit to get business funding. I actually got like $100,000 from Chase to put into the house. You know, like I was doing everything, getting all my resources together. And then, long story short, the deal ended up going bad because I under budgeted. So then I had to start using my own money. And then, the terms for the project were it was bad, but not really. Like when it comes to the lending space, 11% are may seem bad, but they don't really check your credit or anything like that. They're like, this is your first time. This is what your rate is, regardless if you have good credit, bad credit, or bad. I had a 795, still got 11%. So, long story short, I didn't budget correctly, so it ended up messing up my credit because the house never sold. When it messed up my credit, I was like, man, I felt so devastated. I was back into being depressed. I felt like a failure because people were already saying I couldn't do it, so I felt like I was proving them right. This was a time where I was praying to God and I was like, God, like, I don't want to do this without you. When it was time to sign, I was like, Lord, if I'm not supposed to be doing this, allow the deal to go bad. I remember like it was yesterday. They were selling the house for $349,000. I told them, okay, I can only buy the house if it's 300,000. The next day they dropped it down to 300,000. So after I just prayed to God and said, God, if you don't want me to sign this deal, allow it to get like to not go through. Not only did it not go through, everything worked out perfectly. So in my mind, I'm thinking, oh yeah, like this the one. I didn't put the work in. I didn't did everything I was supposed to do. Got in my eyes and crossed all my T's. So when it didn't work, I was like, God, why would you put me through this? Like I literally came to you and said, like, if it just wasn't a good deal, allow it to fall through. So why would you make me look stupid in front of everybody? So basically, like I said, the house didn't sell, it messed up my credit, and I just had to I had to keep moving. So I just learned at this point, I went from real estate and I studied how to fix credit. So then that time credit to capital came about. And then I was just like, I'll just do it again. And, because I trust God so much, I was like, God, I still feel like you told me to do it. Not because I was going to win, but because of what I was going to learn from the loss. You know what I mean? So now it's like, if I was to do it again, and even I have friends that are trying to do it, and they still come to me for advice, knowing that mine didn't go well. So that kind of just goes to show you that, like, I learned so much, but other people trust me, even though they saw my failures. You know what I mean? But that was a tough time.
And that's, I think I mean, that's when they be talking about, even as far as like failing forward and all of that, like that's an example of it. And I think so many times, like where we're supposed to be going is always connected to some type of failure because it's not even failure. It's not a loss. It's a lesson. It's preparation to get where you're going. And if we're just given like that, all the roses and the flowers, like on the first try, it's just like,
exactly.
What am I even getting? Like, if this is just too easy. And so you haven't earned anything.
Exactly.
And, so it's just like the people that are naturally talented on the court. Yes, I can get out, and have a good game. But can I have a good career if I'm not going to practice, if I'm not putting in the reps and all of that? And so it sounds like you had to put in the reps to get where you are. And the very thing that you had to persevere through and overcome is the thing that allows you to even share your story with us and with our audience today. If you didn't fail and everything was good, it's just like, all right, well, like, what else?
Yeah, but keep in mind, I was so depressed because I feel like all of this started from my freshman year in college. I tore my ACL again, had to sit out, didn't play that good of a college career, didn't go overseas. I'm working a 9 to 5 I don't like. Now on top of all that, I worked so hard to get my credit up to a 795, and now everything is ruined because of this house. So I'm just taking L in my mind, L after L after L after L after L. And then I'm still thinking that my wins and losses define me. So at this point, I'm like, what am I even doing? What is even going on here? Like, I don't even want to do anything anymore. Like, everybody get away from me. You know what I mean? So it's like, and mind you, I'm still losing. I don't have a win yet. I'm still losing, and my credit is just now getting back in the 700s. So it's like I've been taking all these L's, but they're not losses. I've been taking all these lessons. You know what I mean? And now that I'm able to mature, I can cultivate everything in my mind. And I'm just like, when I get that win, so y'all not gonna be able to tell me nothing. And then it's gonna be like, I work for this. So like y'all may think that this happened overnight, but I've been crying about this. I've been praying about this. I've been believing because I'm the only one that believes in me. You know what I mean? So it's like I've been believing, I've been doing everything that you should do. So when this win finally comes, I think the only thing that I would be able to do is get on my knees and cry about it. I feel like that's the only thing I'm gonna be able to do. Like I'm gonna have to be like, God, thank you. Like this was a tough journey, but I feel like I had to lose to help other people along the way. And I feel like I needed these lessons. So when I actually won, I can appreciate it. Because I had never went through anything before. Like I grew up with money. I never had went through anything bad until this happened. So I was like, even in my own mind, I'm like, I needed that. I needed this. Like I needed to be humbled. I needed to see how to do all this. Like that's why I feel like part of my calling is to be a teacher. And I feel like that's why I take so many L's so I can tell other people how to do it right when they're on their way. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I can see that. Yeah. Yeah. We don't all have, a story like, with Eric Thomas. I know if I get on there and try to, even try to tell a story about not having something, my mama will slap me in my mouth. Like, it's just like, what is you talking about? You ain't eat out no trash cans. You ain't living no abandoned buildings. Don't even try to even come up with that story.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So,
bullets,
yeah. We're not even going to go there. So it's just like, but we all go through something, and we go through it for this very reason, like you said, because like I truly feel our calling is attached to somebody else. So, we're not all teachers, we're not all coaches, but we all, we go through things so that other people don't have to go through them. We're able to show them the way and, hold their hand through certain things. And to let them know, for the people that are struggling and they're going through it, and all they have is their faith, like keep holding on, keep holding on, because and so you're inspiring those people that are in the thick of it right now, because that's what it takes. We were talking about that last episode, like the breaking is everything, and we need that,
But it feels good too. Like when you finally get to the point of understanding why you're being broken, it's like you realize that like it's like a hard workout. You know what I mean? It's like them workouts when you in the gym, it's hot, you sweating or the sun beaming on you and your coach won't let you quit. It's like you need that. And then after you're done and you accomplish it, it feels amazing. You know what I mean? So it's like that's how I'm feeling now. Like I'm starting to feel like I'm not even depressed no more when I start taking L's. Like I'm not even sad because I know that trouble don't last always. You know what I mean? And then I get even more excited when I start seeing my friends getting blessed, because then I know he's in the neighborhood. So I'm like this. I'm like, oh, my time coming. My time
try to
coming.
touch
He's in
his
the
day,
neighborhood.
yeah. And that's the thing. It's just like, you play a sport. You got the other person that's on the other side. You have the competitor. In this case, the competitor, the opposition is the enemy, and it's just like it feels even if you didn't have that, and you play a game and somebody's just handing you a trophy at the end, but you didn't play against anybody. It's just like it don't even feel as good. And so it's like, I'm like, I love the heart, like. No, I'm not encouraging people to just be going out there. I ain't looking for struggles. You know what I'm saying? There's some people that look for struggles, trying to piece together a story. No, that's not my story, right? But you're it's the point is to know that when you're walking in your purpose, you're walking in your calling, you're going to face opposition. There are going to be trials. There are going to be tribulations. You're going to go through things because you need to learn how to get back up. Continue to go, have that drive to continue to go after the very thing that you said you wanted, and what you felt like God has called you to. And so if you give up the first time you face an obstacle and you head back to whatever it is, your old situations, it's just like, did you really want it?
Yeah, or to me it shows God you didn't really want it.
Yeah, and then that faith goes out the window.
I'll tell you what, so another thing that I know that I learned in this journey from basketball up until now is definitely the fact that when I first started out, I had so much faith, right? But it's because I hadn't been through anything. And I feel like God was like, okay, we're going to test this faith. We're going to test it because I always just say, God, I got so much faith. And I just feel like in my mind, I felt him. And mind you, I don't feel like he's actually saying this. These are just thoughts that come in my head. And I just feel like it's him, right? So I felt like he was like, okay, we're going to test your faith. Because you always praying and you talking about your faith this, your faith that, your faith this. I'm like, pretty cool. You know, my faith is yeah. And after I went through all this stuff, not even gonna lie to you, I was like, Lord, I'm glad you said all we need is the faith of a mustard seed, because that's all I got.
That's all I got left. Sound like Job, man. Sound like Job. Like that's one of my
I'm
favorite
like,
stories
it
in the
started
Bible.
like this.
Say you be going from I know I'm God's favorite to like, come on, man, are you even listening to me? What's going on here? Are you?
Like, are we beefing? Or I used to really be like having. I talk to God like he's right here, honestly. I'm like, Lord, what is going on? I feel like I'm doing what you're telling me, and you making a fool out of me. Like, I don't know what's going on.
So usually businesses, you know, that focus on finances and things like that,
Uh-huh.
they're like there are a ton of resources and things like that are out there, but people don't necessarily know how to read them, how to navigate through these different things. Like, how does credit, the capital, like go behind, like, oh, let's take, you know, this missed payment off your credit report. You know, let's get this
hmm
off of there. Like, how do you guys go beyond, you know,
So,
just the typical thing that you see day to day with, you know, let me fix your credit and have fun
hmm
scamming anyway.
yeah. So, yeah, right. So, what I also teach when I post these videos on my social media is that you need to have your reasoning on when your credit, first of all, why do you want to fix your credit? That's the first thing. You know what I mean? And then after that is you want to put the capital that you did, you want to put it into some kind of asset generating, well, you want to put it into an asset that generates capital. You know what I mean? So it's like we're not fixing our credit for no reason. We're not getting capital to let it sit in our bank. We're getting this capital to put it in some kind of asset so that way we can generate money using money that wasn't ours. So then when we profit from it, now we're putting money in our pocket. You know what I mean? So it's like you're using your $0 of your own hard-earned cash. You're using the bank's money to put into real estate or whatever it is that you want to put it into. And then when you generate that money back, you've now made 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 10,000, $20,000 off of using zero of your own money. So that's the whole point of even doing it. You know what I mean? It's not to just get capital and let it sit in where it can. Like, we're trying to grow here. You know what I mean? So that's what I preach the most. The problem is just some people don't think that far. You know what I mean? How I said like I'm a planner and I prepare for things. Like they're not thinking that far. But it's fine. That's why you have me. So you come to me, I can give you options on like, okay, you can put it in this, you can put it in that, you can put it in this. You're gonna have to research these things. I'm not gonna help you do that. But at least you can have the conversation of, okay, when we get this money, this is how we're going to grow it. This is what we're going to do so we can start creating generational wealth and freedom. The freedom you say you want.
Sure. And just to piggyback off that real quick, how does, you know, the day and age that we're in now, you know, the stock market's kind of up and down, and you know, like that may be something that, you know, that people want to put their money into. It's kind of unpredictable all the time, but definitely, you know, during these times. What are you seeing nowadays in terms of trends like that? You know, the housing market is up and all of that. You know, what is your advice just around just the different times that we face? I mean, you've gone through in your business, you know, different pandemic seasons and things like that. What's your advice, you know, for people that are navigating those things? What are you seeing?
I think I think real estate is always the best option to invest in. Like it's just always been proven to grow your money. That's what the rich people do. That's how they're able to not have to pay capital gains taxes. So for example, I'll just give you what I plan to do, right? I would never recommend getting funding to put it into the stock market, but I do use some of my own money to trade with, right? And what I would want to do is I would take that money and then put that money into real estate. And I mean real estate as in like I want to buy either the same thing, buy a building, fix it up, refinance it, rent it out to somebody, and then make that money. You know what I mean? And then when I refinance it, take that money, the refinance money, and put into another property. Refinance it, take that money, put into another property, and that's how you just keep like washing, rinsing, and keep doing like the same thing over and over. And that's how you acquire properties. And the good thing about that is same with trading. Whenever you're doing something and you profit, you have to pay taxes on that capital gains money. So when I refinance and I put that money into another property, I'm basically pushing out the time period for me to have to pay taxes, which means I'll never have to pay taxes if I keep taking that money and put it into another property. You know what I mean? So that should be the reasoning behind getting capital. That should be the reasoning behind you doing what you're doing. You know what I mean?
Your why.
Yeah. Exactly. And my why is freedom and generational wealth. So for me, that's how I'm going about creating it. And just rinse and repeat.
Rinse and repeat. It's gonna be like you have experiences. Like you have experienced. There's some ups and downs. There's some failure that comes with that.
What's that?
You know.
But it's really just all part of the game. You know what I mean? And then like I don't know anybody who became a millionaire and doesn't have a story to tell. You know what I mean? I feel like that'd be pretty boring for a millionaire to go up there and everything worked out for me. You know what I mean? My first deal, great. Second deal, great. And they'd be like, well, what did you learn, sir? Like, ma'am? Like, do you have anything to help us get to where you're at? Like, you have no feedback. I feel like when it comes to me, if somebody was to ask me, like, Rolanda, how were you able to get 10 properties? Or how were you able to create generational wealth? I have a story to tell. It wasn't a childhood struggle, but it was definitely a struggle. It wasn't easy to learn and persevere on how to get to where I'm at now. You know what I mean?
I always say that, like, if you can't teach it and you can't get somebody to blueprint, you don't really know it.
Mm-hmm.
You don't really know.
That's
and it feels good. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say that's a lesson in our classroom, right? When I was a K-12 teacher, we would always say, you know, a student knows something if they can go back and teach it to their classmates.
Yep. And I just like the fact that even though I fail at certain things, people come to me with their advice, or they download some of my free stuff, or they simply just watch all the videos I've posted and then go out and do it. And then they text me and say, oh, hey, I just wanted to let you know, like, everything you said worked. Like, my credit is good now, or I got funding now. You know what I mean? So it's just like, I just love the fact that you don't have to necessarily have the win for people to still be able to win. So like that's what that's
the time. I'm a far better coach than I ever was a player. Hey, I could create a sniper and can't shoot a lick.
Okay. Some of the best coaches never even played the game.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, but I also feel like I'm meant to be somebody's mentor, because I feel like I couldn't find the mentor that I needed until like recently. So it's like I would love to be the person that I needed when I started my vein for free. Because a lot of these mentors want to charge you for everything, and what they teach you don't even be good.
Ooh, hey, say that again. That's a word. That's a word.
I said a lot of these mentors want to charge you, and what they're teaching don't even be good.
Man, the stuff I see now.
And it's one of the things that's always confusing, right? Like, you went through this struggle, right? Now with venture, because of how passionate you've explained your story. If you could, you want to help somebody not have to go through the same struggles you did. I feel like a lot of times in the mentoring space, folks have this idea of, I struggle, so you need to struggle. And it's like, nah, I struggle, so let me build this ladder. Let me build this ramp. Let me throw this elevator so you come on up here with me, right? And how we can start snowballing that if more folks had that mentality of, instead of the pay to play or this romanticizing of the struggle. Like, Miss Hayes, if you didn't have to struggle, you wouldn't have, would you? You wouldn't have elected to struggle. Right, T?
I mean, I was gonna say, you can't even pay me. Talking about sneaking out, getting under the ground, under a railroad. No. Let's go ahead. Yeah. No. Thank you, Harriet, and all the ancestors and everybody. Exactly. No, we're not doing all that.
It's the fact that it's our culture, though. It's the people that are like us that are like, oh, no, you're going to have to go through it yourself. You're going to have to learn it how I did. You know what I mean? It's just like, I don't want to do that. I want to be the person that, like, reaches back down and I'm helping you, because you shouldn't have to go through what I went through. If I can help you, because why not?
Why not?
Some of the worst First managers I had were older Black women that felt like I needed to go through what they went through. Some of the best managers I had were middle-aged white men. I don't know why it's like that, but that's just my experience from being in corporate and just being in the world. It's like some people just want you to go through what they went through to get to where you want to get to.
Did you have some mentors, or did you meet some people along the way that allowed you, like that gave you a blueprint to get started?
Finances and credit, or finances in my first job?
In credit, yeah, where you are now.
Yes, yes. So I ended up finding a mentor this year. I know last year, September, October, in that time frame, and he's been great. He's the one that really taught me about credit, and then he's the one that taught me about the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers and that whole game. Like he's teaching me about money. Even to this day, he's teaching me about money. This dude, I would say he's definitely taking my mind to that next level. You know, it's like when you hear something, like when you're hungry, it makes you want to go back. And I'm a note taker too, so I go back and I research what he's saying, and that's how I'm able to break it down and then tell my followers. You know what I mean? So it's like I'm really getting the information from him and Google, and then putting my own touch to it, doing my own research, and then putting it out to the people.
Love that. How important is that to have a mentor?
Extremely important. Extremely important, because he even has me thinking about IULs and doing my own trust fund, and that it's never too early to have a trust. You know what I mean? And then it's like he's teaching me how to be my own bank, so I don't even have to go to Chase to get 100K anymore. I can go into my own trust fund, pull out money, and then when I get to a point of where your RUL makes money just sitting there, like it's better than a high yield savings account. You know what I mean? So it's like I can start borrowing from myself, and then when it gets big, my family can borrow from there. You know what I mean? And then instead of you going to the bank, it'll just be like, you know, my daughter or my son, they borrow some money to start their business. Now they have to pay it back to the IUL, but it's better than I'd rather you have to pay me back than pay the bank back, and now your credit is messed up. How mine was, you know what I mean? So like he's literally teaching me stuff like that. So it's like I can't for free. He's a real mentor. So it's like I can't. It's what I needed, and it's right on time.
No, that's amazing. So y'all heard that. Get you a mentor that knows what they're talking about. You know, that has been there, done that, and they can teach you the way.
A mentor that's doing what you want to do. Don't just go get you a mentor. Get you a mentor that's doing what you want to do.
Yeah, and they ain't just telling you what you want to hear. They're going to give you the right tools, the right strategies, the right systems to get where you're trying to go, because they've been there and they've built it. Yeah, it's a lot of people that are out here just talking. Just making things up.
Read one book. Hey, that's my least favorite individual right now. You read one book one time,
and it was Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And it was Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
That was it. And you know, thank you so much, first off, Rolanda, for all the nuggets. All right, T, I'm gonna give you one. That's the second time I heard note taking. I'm gonna start writing notes down. I will write notes. I will write them. I got you.
No, takers are money makers. Note takers are money makers. He talking about this is he talking about he don't take notes, because if he taking notes, that means he ain't paying attention. I'm like, what?
I'm writing.
And then he still be forgetting to do stuff. So he sound like I had this. I ain't gonna say no names. If they listen, let me say that real quick. If you're waiting on me to tell a story about you in this podcast, just keep watching every episode, because I'm going to tell it. I might not say your name, but I'm going to tell it. Now, anybody that's just listening and trying to get the clout, trying to see if I'm going to tell all the business, just keep watching. I ain't going to tell that. But yeah, we had this one employee. He was late to work every single day. And I'm like, what do y'all want me to do? I'm ready to get rid of him. I don't even play that. So it's just like you trying to have patience with people. This man would be late every day talking about something. He don't set no alarm because God wakes him up. Well, he ain't waking you up on time.
Hey, get off my dog. Nah, it wasn't me, Rolanda. I want to say I'm just like you. I believe in being on time. Like you can't control a lot of things. You can control what time your butt show up to play.
And it's just like, okay, he waking you up because God be waking me up too, but you got to be going back to sleep. So like set the alarm, at least the second alarm. If you ain't gonna set the first one, it's just like, come on now.
That's the disobedience.
That just sounds crazy, right? So
Right. And don't come here lying on God.
Yeah. God ain't even do that.
God said, I woke him up at 5. He went back to sleep.
So yeah, you heard what she said, man. Take some notes. Take some notes, man.
Yes.
And that it just to that trust point, you know what I'm saying? Some people may think they're way beyond it, but whether you're a current athlete, former athlete, whatever it is, it's super important. Allen Iverson, my favorite player. So his team put together two blind trusts for him. One he got access to when he was 25. The other one he just got when he turned 50. He just got access to a blind trust that his team put together for $50 million. Just think if somebody was on your side and you could be that person for your family, and you put a trust away and you get that started now. It's not like you gotta sow, millions of dollars into it or anything like that. Just a little bit at a time. Just imagine what it could be as it is sitting there and it's growing. And you've got that, because sometimes like you may get fired from a job. You may have to, resign from a job, whatever it is. Or we go through another pandemic and you get furloughed. Ain't no telling what happens, right? You want to have something to fall back on. So I think that's a great point. Amazing.
You make sure y'all look that up. Are you will?
Yeah. There you go.
That's a bunch of gems today. So, as we get to the tail end of this thing, what's next? Tell people what you got going, what you got cooking. And this is, if you didn't know, but the signpost, this is the plug. So where can people connect with you online? Where your social media at? Where can they purchase your ebook? Where can they hit you up for a consultation so they can learn more about trust?
So the first thing, what I'm into now is after I read this book called The One Thing, write this down, Dr. C, The One Thing. You don't like to write stuff down. So it's called The One Thing, and it taught me how to literally just focus on one thing, right? So I chose trading. So I focus on trading futures. I was doing Forex, but I moved over to futures. So that's what I'm doing right now. Remember I told you before, make that money, we're gonna put it in the real estate. So that's what I'm working on now. I also have something else up my sleeve, but that'll be for another time when I let the world know about that. I'm cooking that one up in the bag. But as far as my social medias go, they're at I am Rolanda Hayes on all platforms, YouTube, Instagram, or Twitter. I'm not on Snapchat, TikTok. I am Rolanda Hayes. DM me. You can ask me anything. I love to answer questions. If you want to hop on a call or do anything, I'm open for that as well. If you have any credit questions, if you have any questions about if you feel like God is telling you this, but you feel like that, or your family wants you to do this, but you want to do that. I've been through a lot of stuff, so we can definitely connect and figure this thing out together because I need help too. Like being on this, even being on this podcast, like I'm getting revelations in my own mind on why I had to go through certain things. So to talk it out with somebody is great, and I definitely would be that person to talk to y'all. So DM me, whatever y'all need to do. I'm open and I'm here for y'all.
Amazing. Before we go, if you could speak to any college athlete that is approaching their very last season, what would you tell them about what comes next?
I'm sorry, what would I tell them about what?
About what comes next.
Ooh, I wouldn't even position it like that. I would position it more so like write down what you want to do in life and then work backwards from there. And then always remember that life is what you make it. You know what I mean? Like I read these spiritual books too. I'm real big on right now I'm reading this book called Man's Eternal Quest by his name is Paramahansa Yogananda. And he basically teaches you about how God is in your Well, the Holy Spirit is your subconscious mind, and God is your conscious mind. And an example of that is, like if somebody was to be like, name every song you know from Lil Wayne, you probably wouldn't be able to name it. But if somebody was playing songs, you could probably sing all the songs that they start playing. And they say it's because when you're operating in your own, like in your own mindset, you can't remember. But when God is your conscious mind, he has that memory where you remember everything that happened in your life, but he's the only one that could bring that to you. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So it's like, just always remember that you create your own reality. You could do whatever you want in this life. Life is what you make it. At the end of the day, we're living in a simulation. So remember that. And then write down what you want to do, and then you work backwards on how you're going to get there. Even if you don't like it, it's not about having passion. It's not about what you like to do. You have a goal and you're trying to get there. So work backwards on how you're going to get there, and then you'll get there. Apply the same stuff that you learned from your sport into what you're doing now, and I promise you'll get there.
You heard it here first. Create a life by design, not by default.
Okay? Yeah.
So, thank you so much. We're going to give you one more round of applause because that was amazing. I learned so much. I didn't write a whole lot down, but I remember so much. Thank you so much, Rolanda Hayes, for joining us. You'll be able to find her socials linked in the description. You'll find her credit to capital linked in the description on this video, as well as a QR code for my folks that's trying to just get it from the video. We got you. All right, so this has been another episode of the Mental Locker Room. We've had a wonderful guest. I'm Dr. C, and this is my wonderful co-host.
Y'all know who it is.
There she go. It's Dr. C and
She didn't
T.
even have to introduce herself. Y'all know who it is.
Step in the room and they already know.
Okay,
They already know.
okay.
Thank y'all. We will see y'all next week. Where we're gonna have another wonderful guest. Stay tuned. Make sure to like, subscribe, hit all the buttons, hit all the links. We'll see you next time.
Hey, C, God told me to start this podcast, and then he told me to call you. The time is now. You ready?
I got you, T. Let's do it.